Hey everybody, out here on the water a little while this afternoon, and just wanted to invite you to join us this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be on the water. We're going to be talking about fishing stories, not stories of my own, but stories of Jesus. You know, even Jesus had fishing stories. We're going to look at some of his stories and, what it means to be fishers of men. I love to fish. Fishing is one of my favorite pastimes. And Jesus, he tells us to be fishers of men. And when we're evangelizing, we're trying to be fishers of men and lead people to Christ. It's real easy to get discouraged when people don't want to hear what we have to offer them, or don't want to accept what we have to offer them, so to speak. But if you think of it in fishing terms, I think about when I come out on the water on a day like today. If I cast 1,000 times and only come in with 15 fish, I consider that a good day. But when we evangelize, for some reason we think we have to catch every fish, that we cast at. And sometimes, a lot of times, more times than not, that's just not the case. You're not going to catch a fish every cast. And we need to look at being fishers of men the same way. Sometimes, you're going to make a lot of casts and come back with nothing. There may be other days where, man, it's on fire and, you're getting bites and getting them on the hook, on a regular basis. And I think just like anything else, the more we do it, just like fishing, the more we do it, the better we'll get at it. And it doesn't always have to be a 3-point sermon. You don't have to have all this wisdom and whatnot. Sometimes it can be something really simple. It can just be an act of kindness, being there to listen, giving somebody a shoulder to cry on. There's a lot of ways that, we can share Jesus. It doesn't all have to be, this big sermon with like I said, with 3 PowerPoints and, a big catch line at the end. Sometimes it's just the simple stuff. And so I just want to encourage y'all, as fishers of men, don't get discouraged when somebody doesn't want to hear what you have to say. Just share, sow the seed, and trust God for the increase. That's all we're really supposed to do, is just, sow seed. The Bible says some sow, some water, but God gets the increase. He's the one responsible for the harvest. And so we just got to do our part. But I just want to tell you, don't get discouraged. Don't grow weary in doing good. When you're out there sowing seed, do what you can, and leave the rest up to God. There was a time, and I need to do this again. There was a time I used to have a blog site, and on the site was called Who Paid For Me. And what I would do is I had these cards printed off, and like if I was going through, Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, I'd pay for the person behind me, and then I would give the lady or man that was taking my money at one of these cards and say, hey, just tell them their meal's paid for and give them this card. And they always liked to do it because it was something fun to be a part of. And so when the people would go to the site to see who, they'd want to know who paid for them, because that's what the card said, who paid for me. And they'd want to know who paid for them, and they'd go to that site, and then they would find out who paid for their life, that Christ paid the ultimate price. And also it had a spot where you could leave a message, if you wanted to comment. And one time I was at McDonald's, and this lady was behind me, and I told the woman at the drive-thru, I said, I want to pay for this person's meal. And she's like, okay. And she said, that'll be $26 and something. I was like, holy cow, at McDonald's. And so I paid it, it was a little more than I was expecting. But a week later, I found a comment on the site, and it was from this woman, and she talked about how her husband had left her. She had like 7 kids, and she was down to like her last $30, and she didn't know what she was going to do, and she was just praying to God, that He was going to have to intervene, make a way, and then, she goes to pick up probably, I guess could have been their last supper. She said she was down to $30 and spent 26 of it there at the store, and God used me to reach her, and she saw that, she had petitioned God for help, and God helped her, and He used me. I never had to talk to the person. So if you're an introvert, kind of like I am, sometimes I have a little trouble talking with people, believe it or not, but sometimes you can do stuff like that, and you could really drastically make an impact on somebody's life without ever even having to talk to them. So I just want to encourage you, be fishers of men and women alike, and just, find your niche, find your way, and just do what God and Jesus has called us to do. Hope y'all join us Thursday night for Fishing Stories, and we'll see you then.